Welcome to Whips in the Dungeon 101.26. Today we're going to talk about signal whip cracker modifications. There's a number of reasons why you would want to modify the original cracker of a signal whip. Traditionally, signal whip crackers are made with black nylon, maybe a carpet thread or a polyester. They're difficult to see in the dungeon because of their color. You might want a different color cracker. Over time, a signal whip cracker is going to wear, and then you're going to snip it back to this next knot and let it unravel, and then you're going to snip it back again, and eventually there won't be any cracker there, and you'll have to send it to the whip maker to have it replaced. But another good reason for these signal whip modifications I'm going to show you is because a signal whip cracker is plaited into the end of the thong of the whip, so it's integral to the whip. Well, but it's made out of nylon or polyester, and it's a porous material, and there's no real 100% proof way of cleaning this. So if you accidentally cut your bottom or you get bodily fluids on this cracker, there's no way to know that you successfully clean those bodily fluids off before you use it on the next person. So if you're following a safe, sane, and consensual approach to play, at that point you would have to either only use this whip on that one particular whip catcher or give the whip to that whip catcher to have in their toy bag. A lot of bottoms I know actually own their own signal whips because that are to be used on them because they like to be cut or they like real heavy play. That's another option. But I'm going to show you some options with this cracker that I think are very viable, and it will allow you to play in a safe, sane, consensual environment and allow you to change that cracker out and actually never have it wear out. And we'll talk in a different video about risk-aware consensual kink and how that paradigm maybe fits in better with a signal whip that has a built-in cracker. I'm going to come around behind the camera so I can show you some close-ups of these signal whips that I've modified. But if you look real closely at this signal whip, you'll see that I snipped the fluff off the end of the black cracker and took a cigarette lighter or a match and I melted it, and then I just pretended that this black cracker was the fall, like the fall on a snake or a bullwhip, and I tied a cracker onto this. So when you use this in a scene, I can take this cracker off and change the cracker out just by pretending the original cracker is a fall and tying a cracker onto it. It allows me to change colors. It allows me to change that cracker out if it gets contaminated, and so on and so forth. The second modification I want to show you, and I did this on a different signal whip, is I snipped the fluff off here and melted the tip, but then I took the cracker and I folded it back on itself and made a loop. And then this white thread you're seeing is waxed whipping thread used in shipping in boats to whip the end of rope. So you can find that at a boat shop. And I just did a whipping, and I whipped a loop in the end of the cracker, and then with that loop there, then I'm able to tie a cracker on just using a ring knot or a half hitch. Okay, so that's two different ways of modifying a signal whip cracker. The advantage to doing that modification is you can change that cracker out. The original cracker then will never wear out, and the beauty of that is I can use this on one bottom. If for some reason it gets contaminated, I can change that cracker out to use on a different whip catcher, and so on and so forth. So it adds a lot of flexibility for the signal whip throwers that like to throw a signal whip, as opposed to that original cracker that's just a fixed integral part of that signal whip. So there's there's a couple different ways you can modify that. Today's keyword is top.